Hello, friends. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and we had our Friendsgiving last week, which this year is kind of different because we don't have a lot of family in town. And our Thanksgiving, it was actually really just our Friendsgiving because we don't have any official Thanksgiving this year, which I am actually kind of excited about because my husband has 4 days off of work and well actually has more than that, and we just get to rest, and then we do have some family coming over the weekend, so it'll be a nice little break. I have a lot of leftover turkey and a ton of turkey broth to make something, and today I'm going to be using a lot of that to make a really delicious butternut squash leftover turkey soup. Last year I did a ton of turkey noodle soup, so basically just chicken noodle soup. I wanted to try something a little different this year, kind of Tuscan style soup. So we're gonna work on that together, and I will link the recipe below, but just know I'm making a few changes and I'll let you know what those are. And I am also going to add the turkey, the cooked shredded turkey to it. And I'm using all of the dark meat because the light meat we like to use for lunch meat and things like that. I want to get through it before we get too sick of it and before it goes bad. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. I need to chop up the onion really quick. And that's really the only, I already chopped up the butternut squash. I'm also going to chop up and add a sweet potato because I have a lot of sweet potatoes right now. So we're just going to add that in to bulk it up a bit. I'm going to do a double batch today. I'm going to take some to a friend. I got these onions from Aldi last week, and they are very tiny. I think this is kind of like a salad that is similar to something that they sell at Olive Garden, but I have not been to Olive Garden in, I don't know, I can't even tell you. Probably like the pandemic, I got it probably takeout or something. So that was the last time I've had Olive Garden. It's probably pandemic era. But I think it is kind of like a Tuscan Italian style soup. I'm going to go grab a sweet potato. This could easily be used as just a vegetarian soup or an appetizer. This is going to be a very simple soup to put together. I'm just doing a 1 medium-sized sweet potato because I have about 2.5 cups of chopped butternut squash. So this should be plenty to beef it up and add some flavor. Ignore the fact that I look like I just almost chopped my fingers off right there. This is a Food 52 recipe, which I really enjoy a lot of the recipes from this website, or I think is it a magazine? They tend to be a little more elevated type of recipes. 2 cloves of garlic, and I don't use 2 cloves of garlic in any recipe, so I'm going to do 4 minimum, maybe 5. I'm a garlic fiend. I love my garlic, and I do have a garlic press thing, but I feel like it's just as easy to smash. And how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do 5 because they are 6 because they're kind of small. So 12 cups of broth is what you need. And I have in this crock pot, sorry, this is a mess. I have bread in the oven, so I have a bunch of tea towels all over the place. This is actually a second batch of broth. So I made a first batch with all the bones and the neck and the gizzards, all that stuff from the turkey and like the liver and the heart, all those insides. And then I let that sit on my stovetop. And then when I was draining it, I let that go for probably about 18 hours on my stovetop. And as I was draining it, I noticed a lot of the bones still had a lot of, like the bones still were hard. So a lot of times I really like when the bones are they just start to disintegrate because you're getting all that bone marrow and the insides kind of start to turn jelly a little bit. That's kind of like a second brew, and that's been going for about 24 hours. And I'm going to try to use all of that for the soup. So I have to drain that. There's still the bones in there. I just turned it off about an hour ago. But this should be a relatively simple soup. And then I'm gonna have it with just some bread, for dinner. And I'm going to add in the turkey. The turkey is obviously it's already cooked, so you're going to add that right before you serve it just to make it hot. So, but after I'm done this, we're going out. It's like 2 o'clock right now. So I have to leave in like an hour. We're going out. And so I wanted to get this done because I wasn't going to be home until dinner time. And then I also want to see if I can take this to a friend later. We're preheating the pan before I add in some olive oil. I got 2 of these olive oils at, I'm gonna move this over a little bit. It's like with any stainless steel cookware, pots are the same. I think a lot of people kind of think you can just, pots are any different than a normal skillet, but you also need to let this get really nice and hot before you add any oil. So I'm just gonna pour some water in there. Still needs to heat up a little bit, so we're gonna let that sit for a couple minutes. So this is nice and hot. I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm watching. This recipe also uses Farrow or Farrow, which is an ancient grain. I like this because this is one of the more accessible ancient grains that you can just get at the grocery store, and it actually is really, really nutrient dense. I'm gonna add, this is probably like a cup and a half. So I'm gonna set that there, and I'm gonna add it after I don't know why I'm trying to put that up there. I'm going to add that after I add the garlic for about a minute. So the onions are getting nice and fragrant, cooked down before they start to change their color. And then we're gonna add, make sure your pan isn't super hot. The thing about olive oil is it has a really, really low smoke point, like barely 350 degrees. So you don't want to overheat anything with olive oil, just until you can smell the garlic. And then I'm gonna add the Farrow, coat that with the oil, and that's gonna soak up all the remaining oil that you have. So now at this point is when you're gonna add the chicken stock. I have this right here in my crock pot, so I'm just going to dip and add that. That's 2. So I'm gonna fill this and then I will come back. The chicken stock has been added. Now is the time to do all the other things. So we're adding the butternut squash. Hopefully this doesn't overflow my pot. Sweet potato. I'm going to grate some ginger into here. And this is the time that you can add all your whatever fresh herbs, non-fresh herbs, whatever you want to add to, you can add at this point. I just have a lot of leftover stuff. There's like thyme right here that I'm just going to, I have a lot of leftover from our Friendsgiving. This is thyme. I'm adding that. I'm just going to do a big handful of flat leaf parsley. I really need to use up as much of this as possible because it's starting to get pretty rough. So I'm just going to chop this all up. There's some cilantro, rosemary, and then I'm also going to grab some dried marjoram into there, which is right here. And I'm going to do probably like half a teaspoon into there. And then also we're going to add salt at this point as well. This is my first time using molten salt, and this is my first time using molten salt. I got it at Costco. I usually use the Redmonds, but they don't sell that at Costco. Stir. This does seem like there's a lot of extra space, but I think as the farro cooks, it's going to like take up some of that. And then we're also going to add some crushed tomatoes. This recipe asked for whole crushed tomatoes, like whole plum tomatoes, in a 28-ounce can. I just went to Aldi to get like to get most of the stuff for this, and all they have is crushed tomato in the 20-ounce can. So it's definitely going to change the look and the texture of this. but it's not going to make enough of a difference. So I'm just adding that into there. Gonna mix that up. That took up a lot of space. And then we're gonna add a bay leaf. So we're adding a couple of bay leaves in there. And we're going to just immerse them. The final touch is a chunk of Parmesan cheese. I got it at Costco. So you're gonna put, and it's really good. You're going to drop just like a big chunk right in there. And then I'm gonna add a lid. This is gonna simmer. Yeah, this is gonna simmer for about 30 minutes. And I'm just going to set it aside. And then when we go to eat it tonight, I'll reheat it up and I will add the kale and more Parmesan cheese over top. And it'll be a perfect, delicious, healthy little soup. I'm going to add the shredded turkey to this as well. And I will add a little video of everything at the end. But other than that, I hope you have a great week and I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving and I will see you in the next video.